If your ears are waxing nostalgic for a little Deep Space Nine, well, you've come to the right place, because I'm Alex, and he is
Brian.
and this is Audio
Hoo-Mons.
Welcome.
Yeah. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. It's a Wednesday evening in April of all
Yes.
times of 2019. Yes. Can you believe we are finally into spring of the year?
Oh, yeah. Me coming from the Chicagoland area, it has been long. It's long overdue.
Audio Hoo-Mons takes a figurative Q-tip to the lobes of Deep Space Nine.
Okay. All right. You're taking it too far.
So where are we, buddy?
Without further ado, I think imbibing in the Tranya started early with my friend Alex.
Oh, it's a hump day. What do you want?
With the Tranya, what are you drinking today?
I'm no longer drinking Tranya, but I had a couple of really good stout martinis earlier this before we started recording, so I feel really good. Right now, I'm just drinking some sparkling orange mango drink.
Right, very good, very good.
And you, sir?
I am partaking in a Guinness 200th anniversary export stout. So I'm assuming they dusted off the original recipe and added the secret herbs and spices and made a nice bottle of stout. So it's nice and crisp. It's still cool enough here that I can enjoy a stout beer, and so I'll be partaking in that this evening.
I can see on the live feed that you're wearing a beanie.
I'm in my basement, so it's still a little chilly in the basement. And in addition to that, you may occasionally hear my sump pump kick in.
Wait, is that a euphemism? Are you gassy?
No, it's an actual sump pump trying to keep my basement from flooding.
Because you have the dancing hot dogs and popcorns and Coca-Colas behind you on the wall.
I do.
It's like the let's go down to the lobby characters brought to life, basically.
And we occasionally will do a movie viewing down here, or the children and I will play a video game of some sort.
And the children shall lead. Just doing a Star Trek reference for people. So,
2 episodes. Lay the gauntlet down. We're going to cover 2 episodes tonight.
Why are we doing 2?
Because, as we had mentioned, there are certain episodes that do not justify or do not require
or warrant
in-depth, deep analysis, because the writing was not at a level that requires that, or the acting, cinematography. None of those things warrant said deep analysis. So we will do our best to cover these and give them the coverage that they deserve. But I would say that both episodes are fairly. There's just not a lot there to talk about. There's a few characters, a couple of themes we'll mention, but I don't think either one justifies an entire episode of in-depth analysis. That's my take.
Well, and the way we go about this on Audio Hoo-Mons is if Brian and me, Alex, agree that it's not one that either one of us want to spend a lot of time on discussing, we won't. We'll give you the Cliff Notes of what we think about it and move on. So we have 2 of those today. I guess, though, it's a good thing that the one after Melora, which wasn't great either, but it's good that the third one after that was really good. Otherwise, we'd be doing 3 today. But the next one, Melora's got its issues.
Melora.
And then we have Rules of Acquisition, which neither one of those are worth either of us talking too much time about. And but the third one after that, the one after that one is damn good. They kind of roared back with that one. So thankfully we're going to have to cover 3 in one episode. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you folks. Normally we do a lot of housekeeping crap right at the beginning. we're going to save that for the ending. We're going to get right into Melora.
I will just start with my overall analysis of both shows.
Okay.
Here's what I relate it to.
Okay.
Melora is Dr. Bashir falls in love. Love episode. Love interest. The next episode, the rules of acquisition. Bartender, Quark, falls in love. I was waiting for Fred Grandy to be on the next episode as some kind of space gopher falling in love. This was like a Love Boat series.
The purser of Deep Space Nine.
Because we had the bartender, you had the doctor fall in love. Julie was going to come fall in love with the next passenger.
And they both fell in love with tropes. With tropes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll start with Melora, but that was just my general take. This is taking a page from the Love Boat. Melora is I reading a little bit of the backstory. I understand what they were trying to do.
This episode was written by a disabled writer.
Right. And so in order to interpret that in the 24th century, Melora is from a low-gravity planet. And for some reason, if you're raised on a low-gravity planet, you can never figure out high gravity. I'm going to suspend disbelief on this one, and I'll buy that problem in the past.
My goodness, do you have 2 bars of latinum on you? Do you have 2, just for the sake of argument?
Okay, sure. Yes, okay.
Will you please buy the premise and go on?
Okay.
Because you're going to have to buy the premise or it's going to fall apart.
Okay, so she's the first low-gravity person to enter Starfleet. I get it. She doesn't want any extra, special help. She comes on the ship, and Dr. Bashir, being the super doctor he is, figures out how to heal her. The problem is once she's healed, it's permanent. Once she transitions from low gravity kind of jumping and flying and acrobats and that kind of stuff into us high gravity people, she can't go back.
Right.
And so she ultimately decides that she's going to just stay that way. They have a romance between the two of them, but then it just kind of ends and she disappears. I'm assuming she's going off to the Gamma Quadrant to go exploring, and the romance is over. It was so that's it. That's it. That's the that's the episode. The only thing that I found really interesting was that Bleeding Gums Murphy was a Klingon chef. What was his name? Roy Taylor.
Roy or Ron Taylor?
Ron, sorry. Ron Taylor.
Dude, he's dead. Come on.
He is. He passed in 2002. But so that was a character that appeared, I found actually particularly interesting. I thought they could have done more with, but this is the only place he appears from my understanding.
He competes with Quark too much, I think.
Maybe.
I mean, I agree with you. He would have been nice to have him around on a very semi-regular basis for comic relief. Because he's a Klingon chef. He's no warrior.
Sure.
Just yelling at people to eat their gach, and all that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Yeah. There's a lot of issues with Melora, and there's a reason we're not really discussing it. But like I said earlier, I mean, Bashir is falling in love with a trope. And I mean this with no disrespect. One, okay, if she's from a heavy gravity planet, she would not look like she does.
From a low gravity planet?
Or a low gravity planet, excuse me. She wouldn't look like she does. Would she?
Why do you say that?
Well, would she look like a human, a normal humanoid?
I suspending disbelief, I would say she could as much as anyone else, although why not have her be more bird-like or something
Right.
to allow her to actually fly in the low gravity as opposed to just jumping real high.
Yeah, and I just didn't understand the kind of sour attitude. I mean, it's not like they didn't know what the situation was.
Right.
It just didn't work. And
Yeah.
and I applaud the writers for trying to shine light on things, but there's a point when it's so obvious you're shining a light on things that it's no longer interesting or entertaining. It's just annoying. It's video medicine.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I-
and the diving in to try to make Bashir this super doctor that can solve
Yeah.
in a day solve problems that have been plaguing the galaxy for eons is like, oh yeah, well, I've already looked at this research, and all I have to do is apply
Yeah.
modern technology. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's the I don't know. It's adding the Wesley Crusher
Yeah, it is.
theorem to Bashir, and I find that very troubling. So
Well, at this
I'm
point in the
praying to
series,
get away from that.
well, at this point in the series, why would a doctor who's basically been assigned to a backwater? This is not a plum assignment.
Right.
It was not. It did not become a plum assignment until after everybody had been assigned. It became a plum assignment when they discovered the wormhole. But remember, Cisco, Bashir, they were not assigned there, O'Brien, until, or they were there prior to becoming the hotspot of the Alpha Quadrant, right?
Right. Exactly.
So,
yes.
so why would we have like a Wunderkind doctor assigned to a place? Yeah, it's no.
I mean, in the earlier episodes, he does talk about wanting to be
On the frontier
on
medicine.
the frontier, yeah, and becoming an old country doctor. And
Yeah, that's great, but you know what? Starfleet doesn't give a shit where you want to go. They'll put you where your talents
are needed.
are needed,
Yes.
and it would not have been there. All right, so I'm there with that. So I hope I didn't cut you off.
No, no, that's
All right.
more than enough coverage
It's
for
just
for Melora.
it's just tropey, and Brian and I reject that kind of storytelling. So how much Latinum?
The 2 bars that I threw in for suspending disbelief. How about that?
Well, and not to be outdone, I'll match you those 2 bars. I've got to keep up with inflation. I'll just leave it at 2 as well. So that's Melora, and now we go right into the rules. Did we?
Okay.
The rules of acquisition, I think, is slightly better than Melora.
Yes, absolutely. If nothing, for no other reason, that it's spending a little bit more time with Wallace Shawn.
Tell me more, Quark. Quark. Oh, man. He looks like a candle that's been left in the sun.
Half melted.
It's
Yeah,
half melted. Ugh.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes. Go ahead.
well, because he hits on Kira, Kira has no issue with things that melt. I don't think. Obviously, we'll learn later. I just think he's such a sleazeball about things. But no, I think that Rules of Acquisition is yet another very obvious. Hey, it's comic relief time with the Ferengi. And
Right.
it's a misstep, and I'll tell you. But there's like kind of a sexual identity thing here. There is kind of a tropey sexist thing here. We talked about this in season 1. You remember this, dude? If I could, the nut of this, or the nub of this, I think, is okay. I'll just real quick. You've got a young Ferengi who is really sharp, has the lobes, as they say,
Right.
for business.
Although the artificial lobes are very obvious
Oh yeah,
that they don't match.
right.
And let me insert why 2 sets?
Well, if
Is there a swimming set?
I don't
and
know.
a-
Maybe, or what if one's
One
for
for
Hoo-Mons?
parties?
What if one's for Hoo-Mons? I don't know. No, but what we're getting at here is that there is a female Ferengi masquerading as a male who actually, and of course this Ferengi masquerading is actually every bit as smart or smarter than Quark and his people, and Rom, well, smarter than Rom is oxymoron
That's
there.
not saying much.
Not
yeah.
saying much. But so you've got that situation. So what you've got here is kind of you've got kind of... It reminded me very much of Blackadder with Rowan Atkinson, where there was in the, I think the second or third season, there was a character who masqueraded, it was Bob, they called him Bob, who showed up again in the final series of Blackadder, masquerading as a male, and Blackadder fell in love with him. Actually, it was a her, but he didn't know it, and it's all kinds of shenanigans ensued, and I just found it tedious and tiresome, and I thought the writers misfired here because if we take two steps back here, and I'm sorry because we're not regurging this plot for you again. Go watch it or look it up, but the Ferengi were brought out. They were trotted out in the Next Generation legitimately with a straight face as supposed to be the new villains, and they're terrible, and they were ridiculous, and they were a parody, and they made fools of themselves and everybody else. So they brought Quark in as a Ferengi character, and he has just a little bit of deviousness and just a little bit of fun to him. But then they start doing these kind of episodes where the Ferengi become full-out comedy relief. Okay, fine. We'll accept that premise. Mm-hmm. The issue I have with Rules of Acquisition, after we saw some episodes involving Ferengis in the first season, though, is the Nagus, the leader of the Ferengi, is using Quark as a stalking horse to try to draw out the first mention of, Brian?
The Dominion.
The Dominion, which, okay, that's significant. They're doing a Tulaberry trade with some people who have really dumb makeup and bad costumes.
Yeah.
And poor Brian Thompson of X-Files fame gets stuck in this horrible Oompa Loompa outfit. It's just dumb. And I found myself today, I was rewatching it today in anticipation of discussing it tonight, and I got bored.
Yeah.
That's the cardinal sin. And I love this show. And I was like, I have nothing for this. This is dumb.
Right. Yeah, and I get it. They're trying to establish trade, playing the Ferengi Monopoly game kind of thing, trying to buy up all the Tulaberries because Tulaberry wine, if that doesn't exist, apparently there are no replicators.
Well, apparently it's like synthale. I mean, you can replicate and make ersatz versions of things, but apparently discerning palates can tell the difference. That's what I'm led to believe.
Okay, fair enough.
So the Tulaberry thing, that's why.
Right.
So, I mean, this is, a couple more strips here. We've got to suspend disbelief. We've got to buy the premise.
Got it. So, and then the whole kind of crying game thing, or the Victor Victoria, whatever.
Or the Blackadder with Bob.
Yeah. That you have someone pretending to be male to succeed in this male-dominated culture, has spent apparently a lifetime trying to do this, and within 30 minutes has already revealed their identity, been found out by Rom, who is not the brightest bulb.
And Jadzia.
And Jadzia, who I mean, is pretty smart. You've got 8 lifetimes worth of
plus
intellect
the garden weasel. Yeah.
It's that's
what
long acting.
It's a Chinese communicator knockoff. What do you want? If I push it, it keeps going.
Does it take a SIM card?
I can't open it, but I can do this. If only people could see your face. All right, please continue.
So, you hit the nail on the head, Alex. It's very tropey. It takes these stereotypes to an absurd comedic extreme in a show that is really designed to get away from.
Let's take a quick stab here. It's taking on sexism, and we talked, and I was alluding to earlier, I didn't get there because Martini, but we talked about this in season 1, about how the Federation is all about respecting cultures and all that stuff. They'll respect every culture except the Ferengi culture, which believes that women should be naked and seen and not heard, correct?
Right, subjugated. Yes.
Subjugated, but they don't respect that. And so we've got a situation here where a Ferengi woman is like, F that, I'm going to dress as a male and go. Fine, but this is where we get into that same argument we had in the first season about